Starfighter.
There has been over 100 movie genres since cinema was created. Each of these genres has had its own golden era.
From the groundbreaking choreography and melodic singing of the 1930s musicals, the songs from these motion pictures have touched the hearts of millions worldwide, bringing each viewer a diegetic experience as if they were a part of the action themselves.
How about the visual and yet politically cynical crime dramas which inspired a nation during its Second World War, where the plot lines were the same but the dames, they were different. Its actors and directors changed the look of cinema forever. Of course, I'm talking about the 1940s film noir.
Back in the West. Or I guess I should say, the Wild West. For nearly 2 decades, the most popular films depicted their heroes as gunslingers, outlaws, and cowboys. In the 1950s and 1960s westerns, these films gave a rugged individualism on justice and freedom in America.
The 1970s saw an emergence of new filmmakers and actors making their own stories along with the platinum-selling soundtracks which marketed them. How could you ever forget the dawn of the black exploitation? A genre mostly known for giving black people the representation they desired, while depicting the social and political struggles they faced as a community. Right on. And even though the sadistic genre is my least favorite, even I can appreciate the creative dark elements which has transgressed taboo events and folklore's beliefs. I'm talking about the iconic horror films in the 1980s. Films which were purposely made to have psychological reactions. These monsters, demons, and spirits, and whatever the hell this thing is. Their terrifying stories have influenced an entire generation. But what about the guns blazing, cars exploding, animal abusing, muscle flexing, terrorists stopping, hot babes with sweat glistening, good cop being forced to hand in his badge and is now taking the law into his own hands to find his wife's murderer, but then discovers it was his police partner from beginning of the film. I can go on forever. Action movies of the 90s, yeah! From the testosterone leading actors who gave us quotable one-liners.
I'm Chow Yun Fat. Do you know what that means?
Yeah, you come with an egg roll and miso soup.
Action flicks of the 90s became a standard on how to craft the perfect blockbuster.
Pop quiz, asshole. You have a hair trigger aimed at your head. What do you do? What do you do?
And how can I not talk about the era from the late 2000s, where your favorite superhero has their own movie, which will ultimately have 20 spin-off movies based on that same universe of that same movie.
That feels weird, but I'll allow it.
I mean, let's forget on how each hero film is a copy and paste from the last, but let's celebrate that we no longer have to wait 2 to 3 years for a sequel. Now, we get it next month.
Yeah. What? How? Why?
Whether you love or hate the late 2000s cinema, it's worth mentioning that these films have set a whole new standard when it comes to box office success. So, you might have noticed that of all the genres that had golden eras, I left one out, because that special era is the reason why I made this video. Victory or Death Starfighters, my name is Carlin Jones, and this is a Starfighter analysis. Today, I'm going to be discussing my favorite era in all of cinema, the era of romantic comedies. In this video, I'll be talking about what killed romantic comedies, how can one of the most successful eras had one of the worst drop-offs in all of cinema. I'll also be going over what is a romantic comedy. Like, what is it? Because I don't think people understand what a rom-com truly is. And finally, I'll be talking about some of the greatest known and unknown romantic comedies that have inspired multiple generations. So with that said, let's get into it.
Excuse me, I forgot something to read. Do you mind if I borrow this? Thanks. A lover's rendezvous. You underline words that you don't know and then look them up later, right? And you underline tryst, which is a meeting of lovers. I do that too, so.
What is a romantic comedy? I know that sounds like an easy question, but if you think a rom-com is just a movie with blends of comedy and romance, then yeah, listen, you're not wrong. It is that, but it should be a little bit more, because I can name a few movies that are not funny whatsoever, and yet they're still labeled as romantic comedies. I feel that one of the best ways to determine if a film is a romantic comedy, or even a good romantic comedy, is how it makes you feel. Does it make you feel hopeful to find love? Maybe it makes you feel hollow inside because your real life experiences come nothing close to what you just watched on screen.
Why are we stopping?
Because I can't take this.
Can't take what?
I love you.
Or does it make you question on why this film is trying to lecture you on the fundamental aspects of human existence? Desire, love, and loneliness. The point I'm trying to make is, in order for something to truly be considered a rom-com, it should not only be cute and funny, but it should make you believe that anyone can find love, even you. Now, if I were to ask you what's the most important factor when making a rom-com, what would you say? Maybe the plot? The plot needs to be something creative and different from every other movie in its genre, kinda like Risk Cutters, which is about a guy who goes into a deep depression after his girlfriend breaks up with him, that he decides to kill himself. And once he's dead, he now lives in this purgatory world full of other people who have killed themselves. Then goes on a hilarious, morbid life-learning adventure to find his ex-girlfriend in this world with his newfound friends. To be honest, the plot is actually not the most important factor when making a romantic comedy. So let's try this again. Maybe it's the setting. The setting of a rom-com needs to be something extremely romantic in order for a romantic comedy to be great. Just like the movie Elizabethtown. The warm summer nights off of exit 66B, where two characters in love spend most of their time in Kentucky. Or how about the movie The Science of Sleep, where the film takes place in France, which, sure, that's romantic, but actually the setting takes place in a man's dreams, where he felt the best way to express his love to his neighbor is to show her inside his mind.
Oh, no, try it again, wrong chord. No, wrong chord, try it again. I knew it! Aha! I knew it! Each structure has its own resonant frequency. You just have to hit the right chord at the right time.
Hey Starfighters, if you like the content that you see and you want to support me as a creator, then please check out my Patreon page. There will be a link in the description below. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, the setting isn't so important after all. Okay, one more guess, one more. Maybe it's the conflict. Oh, come on. We all know audiences are more invested into a couple's relationship if there's a conflict in between them. Like the movie Love and Other Drugs, where the two characters are so in love with each other, but one of them refuses to keep the relationship going because they're at the beginning stages of Parkinson's disease.
Are you trying to show that you're not a flake? Are you trying to stick with something for once in your goddamn life? I mean, you do realize that you are not a good person because you pity fuck the sick girl, right?
Or like one of my favorite rom-coms, Deliver Us from Eva, where three husbands come to the conclusion they can't remain happy in their marriages because the older sister of their wives keeps interfering into their lives. So they hire a professional playboy to date her. Oh, I can't forget about Scott Pilgrim, where in order for a young man to continue dating the woman he likes, he must defeat her 7 evil exes. Okay, you probably know by now the conflict isn't the most important thing. So I'll just tell you, the most important factor in a romantic comedy is the chemistry. Yeah, that should be a no-brainer. However, with this being the most important factor in a romantic comedy, believe it or not, it's common to watch a rom-com and observe two characters not having any chemistry.
So there's no misunderstanding. You see, I don't date men, I work with.
Well, then I quit.
You can't quit, because I need you.
What do you do?
Everything. But I don't kiss on the mouth.
Neither do I.
I'm sure even you can name a rom-com where characters are just two attractive people liking each other, which is, it should be deeper than that. Chemistry in rom-coms should be based on how characters look into each other's eyes. It should be based on how well received the physical attraction is, but most importantly, the emotional connection should be what drives the characters to have chemistry. This chemistry between the characters should keep you fascinated through their entire journey. This chemistry is what makes romantic comedies worth watching. So I'll ask again, in your opinion, what is a romantic comedy?
God, I wish my life was a movie sometimes. You know, I'd never have to worry about my hair or having to go to the bathroom. And then, when I'm at my lowest point, some guy would chase me down the street, pour his heart out, and we'd kiss. Happily ever after.
In order to grasp why romantic comedies died, you have to understand when the golden era of rom-coms began. In my opinion, I believe the romantic comedy era started in 1999. With the first few years into this era, we've gotten movies that completely changed the genre. By 2003, rom-coms were arguably the most popular genre in cinema. And depending on who you ask, rom-coms were making the most money. Not just because people watched them, but they were extremely cheap to make. So again, if everyone loved these movies, how on earth could romantic comedies die out? Well, it's actually pretty simple. Kinda crazy how history repeats itself, huh? Romantic comedies went through a phase that we're all currently witnessing the superhero genre undergo. At a certain point, romantic comedies found the formula on how to craft the perfect movie within its genre. During the rom-com era, because films were so easy to make, there were hundreds upon hundreds of romantic comedies coming out each year. A lot of them are some of my favorites, and unfortunately, most of these films were pretty lousy.
Apparently, they're stuck.
What do you mean you're stuck?
Jamie, are you okay?
How are you stuck?
The biggest reason why romantic comedies died out is because as the years progressed, the quality of romantic comedies became more copy and paste, therefore leaving audiences uninterested and unsatisfied. Towards the mid-2000s, the increasing production of mediocre rom-coms forced the genre to be placed in its own written-off category: chick flicks.
Legs. You alright?
Now, I'm sure you can name a handful of chick flicks you love. I mean, so can I. Nevertheless, this was a gray period for the romantic comedy era. With that being said, there's still plenty of other reasons why romantic comedies died. There's the whole lack of diversity and audiences feeling tired of seeing the same white faces finding love while their best friend, who is either a person of color or a LGBTQ representative, be the comic relief.
No, here we come.
Oh, no, this is Upper West Side, man. We might as well tell them we're opening a crack house. They're gonna hate us.
And then there's the whole reason of romantic comedies not adapting to society on how the perception of love has changed. Majority of rom-coms in the golden era have a viewpoint on love that has been outdated for generations.
Wash someone? Brainwashed? Don't you think you're brainwashed? Everything you know about beauty is programmed. Television, magazines, movies, they're all telling you what's beautiful and what isn't. How's this any different? Look, I didn't come here to debate you!
Listen, I can keep naming various reasons, but the biggest fact that you need to know is that romantic comedies died because the audiences were finally consciously aware that they were being lied to. Not everyone finds love. Not all relationships are happily ever after. Not all marriages are worth fighting for. In 2013, the romantic comedy era officially ended, being replaced with superheroes. Since then, rom-coms have found a nice medium in television to exist in. The Hallmark Channel alone is keeping this genre alive. Will romantic comedies ever be a box office hit again? I don't know. Will we ever see another golden era? You never know.
Mom, that's what people do. They come home, they go out. It's crazy, I know.
You gotta come back and get my prescription.
Yeah.
You gotta get my prescription.
I'll get your prescription!
Oh, you are stupid. You are so stupid.
For this last segment of my analysis, I'm going to recommend some movies to you. Yes, you. Whoever is listening to this, I'm going to share the top 10 romantic comedies that have changed my life. Now, whether if you love romantic comedies or if they're just not your cup of tea, I guarantee there will be something that catches your interest. Number 10, Ruby Sparks. I'm willing to bet my entire life savings that you've never seen a rom-com that has a blend of every single genre. Ruby Sparks is funny when it's not trying to be, astonishingly depressing because of how real the characters feel, terrifying, yes, terrifying. There's a scene in this film which till this day still gives me goosebumps.
Ah! What is that? What the fuck is going on?
And somehow, this film is still extremely romantic. Ruby Sparks is about a novelist who is suffering from writer's block. One day, after creating a fictional dream girl on his typewriter, he wakes up to discover that she came to life. Now, I've already made a spoiler-free review of Ruby Sparks on my channel. Please check it out because I can't recommend this film enough. Ruby Sparks affected my life because I too can relate to putting high expectations on relationships. Number 9, Just Right.
Bucks. Come on, there's more to life than just money.
Balls! Like what?
Like...
And don't give me that love stuff.
All right. What about movies? Yeah, what about movies?
Movies?
Yeah, movies.
Movies?
Yeah.
All you know about is movies?
No, I know.
As someone who does nothing but watches movies all day and is an aspiring writer, I felt that this movie was made for me. Just Right is about a Hollywood tour guide named Harold who is obsessed with movies. On a random afternoon while visiting his bartender friend, he notices his favorite actress is sitting 3 tables down. With his friend peer pressuring him to speak to her, Harold somehow finds himself in a web of lies after telling the actress that he is a hotshot Hollywood screenwriter. And to make matters even worse, the actress wants him to rewrite the Hollywood movie that she's going to star in. I love this movie so much. It's cute, it's funny, and for any Twin Peaks fans out there, it stars Sherilyn Fenn. If you are a movie buff or an aspiring writer, actor, or model, this movie is for you. Not only is it lighthearted, but it sheds some hard truths on how difficult it can be to work in those industries.
Amanda, listen to me. Don't leave. Oh, Amanda, you want me to tell you the truth? No, listen to me. No, you don't understand. Amanda, I'm not a writer. I'm a tour bus driver.
Number 8, Bedazzled.
First of all, you look nothing like the devil.
Oh, really? I suppose I could have gone this way. Ah! But it's so trick or treat.
It's true! You really are the devil!
I can't be the only one who thought making a deal with the devil would be the most amazing experience. This rom-com features one of my favorite childhood actors, Brendan Fraser, and one of my childhood actresses who I had a huge crush on, Elizabeth Hurley. Bedazzled is one of the funniest rom-coms that I've ever seen. The fantasy elements, the costumes, the quotable one-liners, and not to forget the amazing soundtrack, which features the Counting Crows. This is a must-watch for anyone who loves comedies, because the romantic touch it adds to this is hysterical. Remember when I said that chemistry is the most important factor? Well, Brendan Fraser and Elizabeth Hurley are the couple I didn't know I wanted until I watched this film. Number 7, The Wood.
I told you to scare him, now Stacy, stop!
Hey, come on, man, stop, man.
You gonna hurt him! I said stop it, Stacy!
Definitely one of the greatest coming-of-age films I've ever watched, and certainly one of the best rom-coms I grew up watching. The Wood is about a man reminiscing his high school years while also dealing with his best friend getting cold feet during his wedding day. A lot of scenes in this film are still stuck in my head, and I laugh out loud when I watch them. The writing is great, the acting feels so authentic, it's funny, it's universal, and it has one of the better rom-com soundtracks ever made. Number 6, Le Sens des Rêves, or The Science of Sleep.
No, you can't. You can't stop being my friend. It's not something people can decide.
Oh yeah, they can. People have an argument and then they stop talking to each other.
Okay, then let's have a date or something and we can talk about things if that's what you want.
I mentioned this film earlier in my previous segment. Although this is technically a foreign film which uses the languages of English and French, The Science of Sleep is one of the most touching and creative romances you'll ever see. The dream sequences along with the acting performances will leave you speechless. Les Sens des Rêves is about a man named Stefan who struggles to know the difference between his dreams and reality. When he moves into his new home and meets his new neighbor, he feels the only way to express his love is to show her his dreams. The directing is amazing, the dream sequences are heartfelt and funny, the stop motion animation is such a great touch for this film. The soundtrack, okay, the soundtrack is weird, but it's like a good weird. It's like amazing and somehow catchy. There's like groups of people singing along, and then there's also a cappella songs. It's just an experience. I love this movie because I too have weird dreams, and I as well never know what to say to the cute lady that I want to get to know better. Number 5, Chasing Amy.
Yeah, hi. Somebody told me you make comic books here, which is so weird because I have this great idea for a story. It's about a guy who comes to this club and hightails it when he finds out. Ready for this? this girl is gay.
I don't even know where to begin with this film. Kevin Smith is not only one of my favorite directors, but his films are what influenced me to have a career in film. His movie Chasing Amy is the reason why romantic comedies are my favorite genre. Chasing Amy is about a comic book artist who falls in love with a woman who is gay. As simple as that plot may seem, the themes and moral messages in this rom-com will blow you away. This is by far my favorite writing in a romantic comedy that I've ever seen. Ben Affleck and Joy Lauren Adams have beautiful chemistry, and the film is hilarious because it features my favorite duo, Jay and Silent Bob. Go watch this movie, I beg you. You will not be disappointed.
Your job search?
Number 4, Dummy.
Any technical training? What kind of work are you looking for?
Ventriloquism.
Excuse me?
Ventriloquism.
This movie is awesome because of 2 things. 1, it's a creepy, heartfelt rom-com about ventriloquism, and 2, Mila Jovovich isn't being chased by zombies. Dummy is about a 30-year-old man who still lives with his parents, quits his job to pursue his new passion in becoming a ventriloquist. This new passion, along with his loser best friend, encourages him to ask out his unemployment counselor. This is a dark comedy which has a lot of heavy themes. This is by far Mila Jovovich's best role that I've ever seen. Honestly, I didn't even know she could do comedy after watching all those Resident Evil films. The soundtrack is awesome. I listen to it every other month, and this is by far the greatest ending to a romantic comedy that you will ever see. Number 3, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Is Scott here?
You know what? He just left.
Really?
Yeah. Sorry.
Not only is this one of my favorite rom-coms of all time, but it's one of my favorite movies as well. I was Scott Pilgrim. Like literally, when I graduated high school, I was emotionally living the life of Scott Pilgrim. And I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing. Scott Pilgrim is about a young man who must defeat the 7 evil exes of his girlfriend if he wants to continue dating her. Honestly, this is the best visuals that I've ever seen in a movie, and it still holds up today. The action comedy is groundbreaking, the soundtrack is phenomenal, the wardrobe is fantastic. I could praise this movie for the next hour. I really could. All I do every day is quote this movie. This film will always have a special place in my heart. Oh, and I'm always cautious about eating bread now.
It's actually really good garlic bread. Garlic bread is my favorite food. I could honestly eat it for every meal, or just eat it all the time without even stopping.
You get fat.
No, why would I get fat?
Bread makes you fat.
Bread makes you fat?
Number 2, Shanghai Kiss.
Chin Mao! Get out of here! Chin Mao! Jin Jiao? Chin Mao! It's famous! It's the tallest building here! Jin Jiao! You've been driving me around the city all day. What are you, a fucking idiot?
You fuckers!
You fucking...
Fuckers!
You fucking...
You fucking...
You fucking...
Shanghai, China is number 1 on my bucket list of places to travel. This film not only does an amazing job of fleshing out its characters, but you also learn more about the city with each passing scene. Shanghai Kiss is about an Asian American named Liam, who is a struggling actor in Los Angeles. Soon after inheriting his grandmother's home, whom he's never met, Liam now considers moving to Shanghai to be closer to his roots and possibly leaving behind the only woman who has ever loved him. Shanghai Kiss is a pretty dark film. It touches subjects on alcoholism, extortion, and other taboo topics, which I don't think I'm gonna mention on here. Even though this film seems depressing, it surprises you with its humor. It's almost like when things get so serious, there's one little tiny dialogue to break up the tension, which can make it so funny to the point where it's laugh out loud humor. This movie is romantic. Hayden Panettiere and Kelly Hu put on a great performance, and Ken Leung puts on the greatest performance that I've ever seen in a rom-com. I also made a spoiler-free review of Shanghai Kiss on my channel, so if you want to know more about this incredible romantic comedy, please click on the box above. Number 1, Wrist Cutters.
Because you're here by mistake or whatever. I'm sorry, I guess I don't see how you could possibly
You know what? Listen, you little jerk. I never killed myself. I just OD'd.
For anyone who is currently going through a breakup, a divorce, or losing anyone that's important to you, rather if it's a significant other, a family member, or a friend, this film is the cure for a broken heart. I'll say it again, Wrist Cutters is a cure for a broken heart. Wrist Cutters has the best soundtrack that I've ever heard in a romantic comedy. It has the best story that I've ever seen in a rom-com, and its themes and moral messages are so universal, I personally think it's impossible for anyone to dislike this film. Wrist Cutters is about a man named Zia. After his girlfriend breaks up with him, he makes the decision to kill himself. Once he's dead, he awakens in this purgatory world where one cannot laugh nor smile. And he's surrounded by other individuals who have also killed themselves. But after living this new boring life and making a new friend, Zia discovers his ex-girlfriend has also made it to this world. So he sets on an adventure to be with the woman he loves. As depressing as this movie might sound, it's actually the opposite. It's very funny and subtle with its romance. I can go into so much detail on how much I love these characters and the world that they exist in, but I don't want to spoil anything. Wrist Cutters is by far the greatest rom-com that I've ever seen and has left me with the best song to play during road trips. Hey there, Starfighters. So that is my analysis on the golden era of romantic comedies. What did you think? Did you agree with the things I say? Do you not agree with it? Do you hate it? What are your favorite genres? Did one of your golden eras, was it touched on in a positive way or a negative way? Just let me know in the comments below. Honestly, I love reading your comments, whether they're negative or positive. I don't know. I just want to find an understanding to why people feel the way that they do about films. It's honestly, it's amazing.
Sure.
I'm currently in Rylos right now. I'm kind of just hanging out with Centauri. There's supposed to be some big meeting going on right now. We're about to make a final push against Azur in the final frontier. But until then, because eventually I will be back on Earth, until then, let me know what other videos you would like to see, whether if they're movie reviews, TV reviews. Maybe I can do this again and maybe do like golden era for TV genres or TV shows or something like that. I was thinking about that earlier and I was like, where would I even begin? Well, you know what? I do love teen dramas, so I'm sure that's a whole golden era of its own. So with that said, if you liked the video, leave a comment, leave it a like, favorite it, do whatever your heart's content. You can even download it if you want. I will see you on the next one. But until then, victory or death, Starfighters.
Victory or death! Victory or death! Victory or death! Victory or death!